Western Kentucky, where I was raised, where the wildlife and mountains call my name. I was born to hunt, I was born to guide, a camouflage on a rifle by my side. Just good old country boys chasing dreams in the Appalachian Mountains, fields and streams. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks are on the run. Where those dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. The coyotes run all night. It's music to my ears and in my sights. I've got this hunting fever down in my bones. Glad my daddy taught me everything I know. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks are on the run. Where dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks are on the run. Where dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. The TLC Outfitter is our name.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Welcome to On Air and Outdoors with TLC Outfitters. As always, my name's Trinity and we're joined tonight by our good buddy and cohort, Mr. Matt Woolwine. Hope everybody's having a great start to your week. Hope everybody had a great weekend, got out and enjoyed the great weather as always. And man, I'll tell you what, Matt, today has spoiled us a little bit for the next couple of days. Today, tomorrow, we've got some nice weather in.
Yeah, man, nice and cool, low humidity. Got a little breeze going. I tell you what, felt like late September, early October a little bit today.
Absolutely, man. I'll tell you what, yesterday, it's funny how those animals, how wildlife knows, they know when those fronts are coming through. And it's funny how they ride that barometric pressure and all those fronts. Man, I seen longbeards walking the fields. I seen bucks out like crazy, velvet bucks out like crazy yesterday. And even today, it's pretty neat to see. But we get spoiled, man. As soon as that weather comes in, it goes right back to that 90-degree heat. I'm out.
Yeah, man. I agree. It's funny how our bodies adapt to the nice weather quickly, and it takes us forever to get rekindled back to that 95-degree weather,
Absolutely. Man, I'll tell you what, we're excited about the show tonight. If you've not done so, please like and share this feed. Get the word out there about all things on air and outdoors. We are joined tonight, taking time out of a very, very busy schedule, getting ready to ramp up, man, for the kickoff to what I consider fall hunting season. We have the 7th District Conservation Sergeant, Mr. Bobby Owens, is going to be joining. Absolutely one of the Commonwealth's finest, man, out there protecting the fisheries and the wildlife we love every day, along with a lot of other men and women. We're very excited to have Bobby on tonight. Going to be talking about the upcoming seasons. Going to be talking about some camaraderie between hunter and conservation officer. And man, the biggest thing, Matt, that I think that we see, that we've seen over many years of, doing what we do, a lot of people get anxiety when they see, an officer pull up, but it really shouldn't be that way.
No, they're out there protecting the resource, and the fact is that if somebody's not protecting the resource, and we just let guys run wild and kill what they want to, and take over the bag limit and this and that, then the resource is missing. There's no reason to be out there.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, it's there's so many people that are driven by that trigger pull. They're driven by that kill that they get a little happy sometimes and maybe do some things that they shouldn't be doing. And if your conscience is telling you, if the little devil on this shoulder is telling you to do it, and the angel on this shoulder is telling you not to do it, it's probably best to listen to that angel. You know what?
Don't do it. Just don't do it. That's
Just
right, man. Yeah. We're very thankful. We come from a place, the Commonwealth has got what I consider to be the greatest, Fish and Wildlife Department that's out there. Absolutely one of the most decorated and one of the most successful when it comes to wildlife and fisheries. We've touched on our elk herd and, what is the greatest big game conservation story in the history of our modern day history of the United States. So we're very excited to have Sergeant Owens on tonight to talk about some stuff and clear some stuff up hopefully for us. So we're pretty excited. We're joined by some folks tonight. As always, our biggest fan, my mama, says howdy, howdy. Appreciate you, mama. Our very own Ben Moore says, hey, fella. Hey, Ben, man. Hope you're having a good one. Look, here it is, man. We're counting down the days, baby. Counting down the days.
We got a few guys that are dedicated every Tuesday night. One's your mama and one's Paul.
That's right. Gator Paul, man. We'll be down there before you know it. We're 1 week closer, Paul. Hopefully bring you a big gator, some fish, and some iguana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And our good buddy and another one of the Commonwealth's finest, Mr. James Royal. He's with the Kentucky State Police. James Royal. Everybody knows the big James Royal bull, the Royal bull we killed a few years ago. We appreciate you joining us, our good friend. Appreciate you very much, man. Got a lot to talk about tonight. I won't cover this very quickly. So I got some shout outs. I call this, I guess, TLC 2.0, man. It's never too early to start recruiting. But I want to say a big shout out to Maddox Moore. That's Ben's son, Tanner Murphy. We seen Tanner on with his bluegill catch a few weeks ago. And Hunter Harless. And I want to say a big get well to our good buddy, Hunter Harless. He's been down and out a little bit this week, had a little bit of a scare. Gave his mama and papa a little bit of a scare, but he's doing much better back home. And I hope you're feeling better, Hunter. Hope you're having a good night, man. We appreciate you all very much. Gator Paul says Gator season open today. I wonder, can we get Scott and Wayne to just chill out for a minute and not be down there killing all the gators?
That's what we need. Leave one for us, about a 10 to 12 footer. Just
That's
need.
Right. That's right. Daggone.
I don't care 4 foot. I want one of them girthy ones.
Yeah.
I want one of them. It's about as wide as a bucking bull,
Yep. Jason says, I've been checked at least 4 times by wardens this year while fishing. Glad they are out checking. Went years without seeing any. Man, you know what? It is a welcome sight, man, to be checked. That's what I hope people understand. Prior to, the department being established and all of our conservation officers, that's when we seen, all the kill, everything killed out, that middle 1800s kill off, the Great Depression, took a lot of our resources out. But now we take it for granted. We'll be talking about that. We take so much for granted today because we step out in our backyard and we see turkey, we see deer, some of us see elk, we see black bear. We go to the lake and enjoy a great day fishing no matter where we go. We sometimes don't think about the effort that's put into our fisheries and our wildlife resources. And I hope maybe we can say something tonight, be like, hey, we need to shake these people's hands and really, really appreciate what they do, because without them, you think about your areas that maybe have gone to the wayside or, that's been hunted out or is not as protected anymore. These people are worth their weight in gold when it comes to taking care of this lifestyle that we love and protecting it.
Who you reckon we need to do about bringing some buffalo back. That's what I'm pretty interested in that.
Yeah, bring some bison back. Justin Tinsley's joining us tonight, but I'll have to put them up. I'll be talking to you in just a minute, Justin Tinsley. I got a couple of things to show, but you, as always, buddy, send pictures too late, but we'll get them on next time. Tim Fan says we definitely need wildlife law enforcement. Absolutely, Tim, our very own Tim Fan. Look here, man. We're excited launching something with our good friends and our cohorts from Global Outdoors hunting decoys. I can't wait to get my hands on this. We're teaming up with Global Outdoors, and we've got look at that thing, man. It looks like, when I first seen these, I was like, man, what's a sandhill crane doing in an office? And we've got those crane decoys coming for our sandhill crane season this year from Global Outdoors hunting decoys.
Did you tell me them was 2D?
Those are 2D, my friend. and listen, we got turkeys, we got coyotes, we've got doves, we got the whole smorgasbord that Global Outdoors has hooked us up with, man. And we're gonna be showcasing them on our YouTube shows. We're gonna be doing all this.
Hey, but we need some doves for here in a couple weeks.
They're on their way. Absolutely. So stay tuned. Good things coming from TLC Outfitters and Global Outdoors. And another one of our affiliates that we've already spoke to. What is this, Matt? Some people's got to work long hours. You got anything to say to that?
No, I tell you what, if he would move, if he get the lead out and move a little faster, he wouldn't have to work so late. He could get it done earlier in the day.
Here we go.
He just pokes along, just meanders.
I mean, this don't look like a guy from Tinsley Custom Wildlife that's poking along. I mean, that's a full body giraffe.
Laying down on the job there.
Yeah. And look at this, man. Look at this right here. Brand new Tinsley Custom Wildlife bourbon glasses. We're pretty excited about that. And if you haven't been a little bit late, I'll be showcasing these next week. You should see the new rifle slings like I've never seen before. I can't wait to get them on here. You talking about another way to commemorate a trophy. These rifle slings, these customizable rifle slings from Tinsley Custom Wildlife just adds another award-winning element to a great taxidermy already.
I've seen them and they're pretty cool.
Yep.
You reckon you drink L8 out of that bourbon glass there?
I bet you can. I bet it don't matter what's in it, just as long as it says Tinsley Custom Wildlife on the side. That's right. Ben says, turn them buffalo loose in Richmond.
I know a few places I'd like to turn a bunch of wild buffalo into.
All right, man. I think Paul Scherer says it's not hard to watch mountains dry. LOL. Sorry, Justin. Paul, all the way from Florida, even giving Justin a hard time, man. Not hard to watch the mountains dry. You ain't got nothing to say to that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I better lay low on that one.
But let's bring our special guests on. Folks, we're excited tonight. We got so many seasons coming up. It's not every day that you get to spend. I got, listen, the battle lines have been drawn on the sand. I mean, Florida versus Kentucky all over again, son. We do mount good skunks, he says.
Hey, easy there. Easy. You can't be talking about nature like that. It makes us mad.
He's not going to have to deal with Gator Paul. He's going to have to deal with Mama Sarah.
That's right.
Oh, goodness. But it's not every day that you get to sit down with the men and women of Fish and Wildlife, especially a sergeant with their conservation officer team. But we've got Sergeant Owens is joining us, and we're going to bring him on right now. And very excited to have him. Appreciate you joining us, Sarge. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Glad for having me.
Yeah, man. We're excited to talk to you tonight. We got a lot to cover. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and being with us.
Not a problem. I enjoy this stuff.
Yeah. So before we get started, just lay a little bit of foundation work for us. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And I guess the big question we always like to ask, man, how in the world did you get to become a Kentucky Park Fish and Wildlife Conservation Officer? A dream job for a whole lot of outdoors men and women.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hear that quite a bit, talking to the sportsmen and women when we're out checking or compliance checks or on the lake or whatever. That's a big question we always get. So I guess it started for me. My academy days started in 2015, but prior to that, my stepfather, he's retired state police. So I kind of grew up around the law enforcement part of it. And just like every other country person in this part of the state, they tend to love hunting and fishing. So I fell in that realm of people and got to deciding once I got a little bit older out of high school and stuff, what I was going to do with my life, obviously. And was always around law enforcement, loved to hunt and fish. And I thought, what's better than being a wildlife officer, regardless of whatever state it was in. So 2015, 2 years prior to that, I started out as an elk technician right here in Eastern Kentucky. I did that 2 seasonal terms, working under Dan Crank, which is one of our local biologists. Got my first opportunity to apply. Unfortunately, wasn't successful. It actually took me 3 times before I got in. Went through in 2015. Graduated, and some 8 years later, I'm still kicking at it.
There you go, man. We're thankful. It's a tough program. I mean, we could do a show just on the career aspect of being a conservation officer, and it's no joke. It rivals. I mean, it rivals military standards and surpasses a lot of stuff. So when you come out on the other end, I mean, you're cut from the cloth and you're the real deal.
Yeah, it's a rather lengthy process. We've got 12 weeks of our own academy, basically teaching you the game warden side of stuff. And then we have I think it's 20 weeks now, go through DOCJT in Richmond to be POP certified. And then plus on the back end, now we have a 12-week field training that you're obviously in the field working, but you kind of got somebody that has a little time on kind of showing you the ropes, how things are done, and paperwork stuff, how all that goes. So it's a rather lengthy process, but I'll be honest with you, if they called me today and told me I had to do it over, I would show up wherever I needed to go to do it again.
Yeah. I think you got some fans on here, Bobby. I don't know if you know this lady or not. I think Samantha Owens says the kids say, "Hey, Dad," they are so excited to see you on the big screen.
I'd hate to be in that house right now.
You hit the big time, Bobby.
Yeah, finally made it.
Yeah. And Teresa Meyer Mullen says, watching from South Dakota.
That'd be my mama. They took a trip out west, so I guess she's found time in her sightseeing day there to watch me, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We appreciate everybody tuning in, especially getting to showcase some great things from the Commonwealth. So, we've talked about some things already, but man, we got a lot of seasons coming up, and I know that when a lot of people think about game wardens, they think about hunting, but I mean, you all stay busy 12 months a year. Kind of give us a little rundown of what a summer. We're getting ready to go into fall and hunting, but give us a little rundown of what a summer looks like for a conservation officer.
Oh, I can talk for hours on that, but just in short, you as a sportsman or woman out there, watching or listening or whatever, just think how you go about your days during springtime. We're getting ready for that spring bite for fish, or we're scouting for longbeards. As it starts getting warmer, we've got people starting to hit the lakes more. So obviously our patrol focuses on lakes and safety of the people on the water. But typically, we have officers throughout the district that will be assigned to certain lakes during the weekends, and it's kind of left open to us to patrol as needed during the week. Of course, like you just said, we're stay fairly busy, so we try to cover the waterways the best we can with what resources we have at this time. I feel like we've done a very good job, especially in the last year or so. We just got 3 new officers out of the academy last year, and they finally got turned loose on their own. We've got Taylor Davis in McGoffin County. We've got Stone Harris in Martin County, and Dylan Fields in Johnson County. So if you alleviate those 3, prior to last year, we had myself and Officer John Fields in Pike County to cover those 6 counties. So you can imagine what help that is, just having 3 officers. Although, if we had it our way, we'd have 5 or 6 in each county, but we just don't. So we manage with what we got. And those 3 officers are doing an outstanding job getting out and meeting the people and patrolling heavy, which is a good thing. Provide safety, answer questions, whatever they need from us. That's what we're there for.
Yeah. And man, I have to give out a huge shout out to Taylor and Stone. They actually attended our first ever European tower shoot over in McGoffin County, and was very instrumental, coming out, inspecting the field, doing all the paperwork, and then invited out, and they came. I wanted them to. They came and checked the hunters. They got to see what it's all about. And I guess one of the biggest things for me is they're like, man, this is one of the best things we've ever seen in Eastern Kentucky. I mean, it was phenomenal, that day. But they just came out, and that camaraderie between, that education between hunter and a conservation officer was second to none in my book. One of the best parts of the day.
Absolutely. I'm glad they got to attend that. Things like that we take pride in. That's when you get out and meet the people, and just, be one of the people that's there instead of somebody in a uniform. You get to mingle and talk about hunts that they've been on or hunts that you've been on. And it's good to share stories and build those relationships. I enjoy those days. I actually think Dewey Lake Fish and Game Club has got one coming up for their squirrel hunt. Obviously we'll be there at that. So we love doing that stuff, and we love when people call and ask us, to be involved with that stuff.
Yep, that's right.
About people getting anxiety when they start thinking maybe a conservation officer's around the corner or something, but it was really good camaraderie when those guys were up there for the bird shoot, to see that they were working, but then also, they weren't just checking licenses. They were walking around that field, interacting with all the shooters, and really letting everybody know that, what, this is what we love too,
Yep.
And so just to see that passion, and to see their smiles on their face, it wasn't like the Grinch coming in there trying to take your shotgun away from you. Them boys was enjoying it just as much as the shooters were.
That's right. That's right. And, they were like a sponge. They were learning too, because, that's not something you get to see every day in Eastern Kentucky, the upland bird aspect of it. But man, the amount of knowledge they brought to the field beforehand was amazing. The amount of knowledge that they already knew, and helping, going through all the legalities of the field, making sure that it's marked, going through all that stuff. I mean, they're just a wealth of knowledge, and I hope people really, take advantage of being able to speak to the men and women that are conservation officers when they get a chance. Paul Priest says we need more game wardens, just like Sergeant Owens said. You're exactly right. Our buddy John William Partain This is the man right here that started the whole Florida chapter for TLC Outfitters, Matt. John William Partain was a game warden for quite some time. And he said it's not an easy job. And here's a good question. Sergeant said, John Haley says, truly my dream job to become a game warden, just don't know exactly how to get there. What advice would you have for somebody maybe wanting to look into becoming a conservation officer?
Okay, so without going through the whole list of requirements, just the basics of it. Obviously, you got to be 21 years of age. Always like to throw out there, have a clean record. The PT aspects of it, being able to not only do your running and your push-ups and sit-ups, but we also have the water section of that as well. 100-yard swim, 10-minute tread, and a retrieval of an object from, I believe it's 7 feet of water. As far as applying, usually they do a pretty good job of posting it when they're taking applications through our media sites, whether it be Instagram or the Facebook page. But any of our jobs go through the personnel cabinet. So to actually apply for that job, you will have to go through the personnel cabinet, upload a resume, fill out all the information that's asked and is required of you. And that's where it starts. And then, of course, once that application is submitted, it will go through our personnel and headquarters and law enforcement division, and then you'll start receiving emails from them when and where to go, and go through that process. Typically, you're looking at a 6 to 8 month process just through the hiring process. Once you do backgrounds, polygraph, the PT testing. So it's a little bit of a process, but it's really not that complicated.
Yeah. A lot of prep. There's a lot of prep. You can't go into it and just think you're going to breeze through it, because it's the real deal.
Yes, it's very competitive.
Yeah. What you going to say, Matt?
You said you had to be 21 to apply. Does that mean like me and Trinity could apply twice?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No age limit?
No age limit. You say that, no age limit. I had a gentleman, I think he's in Lewis County, Tony Nolan. He was 46 years old when he went through the academy with me. And kind of like everybody else says, I said, what are you, you're a little bit older than a lot of us here. What made you come here? And he said, buddy, it's always been a dream job of mine. And I finally got to that point in my life to where I could try it. And he made it, and he's doing good at it. So age don't matter.
See, Matt, you raining on my parade every day, man. And I still got hope.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm going to apply twice. And that way, maybe on all that PT stuff, they'll give me a second chance too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and I can't echo this enough right here. Our very own Ben Moore says Bobby always takes the time to talk to people, and if a group of sportsmen and women gather, he will be there. Good group of officers we have in Eastern Kentucky right now, and I have to say I agree wholeheartedly with him. Officers everywhere are fantastic, but we're pretty biased over here in the East. Our very own Tim Fan says, I started the process of being a game warden in the mid-90s, but plumbing kept sucking me back in. But we all gotta come. Hey, look here. They always got to be a critic, man. Always got to be a critic. Nathan Harlins, Trinity Shepherd, you would break a hip, old man. What's he trying to say, man?
I don't know. I got those push-ups down pat, and that ain't no problem. But them sit-ups and then that timed run, however far that is, that probably kicked me out right there.
Yeah. What's this all about, Matt? Justin Tenney says, Matt, it's too big of an outlaw to apply.
Yeah, hey, I got a clean record, buddy. Everything's legal until you get caught.
Oh, goodness. Now, Bobby, we got a lot of season. So would you say that squirrel season's kind of the kickoff to the fall hunting season?
Absolutely. Yeah. It being up August 19th, so we're approaching it pretty quick. So yeah, it's you don't see very many taking advantage of that early spring, I say spring, but early summer, shall I say, as part of squirrel season before the leaves comes off. But that is, we do check a few hunters here and there during that time, the early part of the season. Of course, they have typically have the squirrel hunts around Dewey Lake. We get involved in, so I believe I would consider it the kickoff for us.
Absolutely. Now, what kind of you know, I think too, sometimes you take people who have done some things for so long, like squirrel hunting, they look at squirrel hunting, it's just squirrel. It's just squirrel hunting. I've done it since I was 6 years old. I'm a grown man. I don't have to worry about this and don't have to worry about that. What's some things that maybe, people take for granted or that you see, that people shouldn't? And what kind of advice would you have to squirrel hunters as far as safety and things like that?
I'll speak a little bit about just Dewey Lake in general. Um, I think I've had this issue a couple of times. Down there around the dam is a shotgun and archery area only. A lot of times, if you're on a management area, there'll be signage there where you can and where you can't go, what you can do, limits, all that stuff will be posted. Usually pretty good, unless it's been tore down. And if it has been tore down, we need to know about it. Call and let us know if that's something that you've hunted there for 15 years or 20 years, or however many years it is, and there's signs supposed to be there. Call and let us know. We'll be gladly to get one put back out there for you. That way everybody else understands what's going on in that area. But the big one at the dam area on Dewey Lake, it being a shotgun and archery equipment only, a lot of people like to use 22s for squirrel hunting. Obviously, in an area like that, it's restricted, so you wouldn't be able to use that type of firearm. Some other stuff that we run into quite commonly is, the typical common license violation. Obviously, you're required to have a hunting license, so that's a big one. Probably the restricted areas as far as weaponry, and then just the common license violations.
And man, I hate to state the obvious, but there's really no reason for any sportsman or sports lady to not be in the know. We preach it every week, fw.ky.gov, fishandwildlife.kentucky.gov. I mean, fw.ky.gov. It's all laid out. It's species specific. It's season specific. Everything's laid out. Well, let's say you're not computer savvy. It's right there on your phone. If you don't want to do online, the guide is, it's at every place you look. You can go to Walmart and go to the sporting goods section and get a hunting guide. So there's really no reason. And look, the law doesn't wink at ignorance, as the old saying goes. The lack of knowledge. So being able to know the laws, I mean, that's part of being a good hunter and being a good outdoors person. Knowing what license you're supposed to have, knowing the seasons, knowing bag limits, creel limits, things like that. So, I mean, it's hard when somebody, I mean, I'm sure that there's all kinds of different scenarios you run into, but when it comes to that stuff, people need to be in the know.
Right. We do. I want to harp on something too. We do have, like we discussed earlier, when we do have changes to whatever species of animal or lake, body of water, it'll be printed in the front of that guide in blue, what's new. So, as a hunter, you should, like you just mentioned, you should be kept up on what you can and can't do. So if you've got that in your mind, year in and year out, the only thing that you should probably have to review would be the stuff in blue in the front.
Yep.
When something changes.
Very good. John Hayes said, well, I was a lifeguard for 4 years at one time, and I was actually training because I wanted to be in the Marines, and I am still in good physical shape. So there is hope if I can get there. That's right, John. PT, or the physical aspect of it, like Sergeant Owens said, is a huge part of it. Tim Fan says, poachers need not apply during hunting season anyway, LOL. And here's a good point, and I've got something to add to this. Chris Dawson talking about squirrel season. Protect yourself from ticks, boys. Rocky Mountain spotted fever is no joke. I was on the tractor this weekend, and I literally got off the tractor to open 3 gates off the tractor, back on the tractor. Didn't think anything about it. And man, later that night, started itching a little bit. And on each leg, I had 30 to 40 seed ticks or tick nymphs. They are bad, really bad.
Mention too, Trendy, that's a cab tractor. So
Yes.
yeah, not an open station and stuff just flying up on you, just because. But
that's right. And right here is a gentleman that knows. Unfortunately now, being more alpha gal, no joke either. He just found out, and we've all been there, done that. We're the big tough guy that don't worry about ticks or snakes or whatever else as we're tromping through the woods. And now Ben's got to deal with that allergen, and that's the red meat allergen. He's cursed for a little while when it comes to red meat. So ticks, snakes, big time rattlesnakes, copperheads are the 2 big ones you got to worry about. Yellow jackets nest. I've never seen so many yellow jackets this year. All these things are things for, it's okay to talk about it and, think, well, I'm not going to get in that situation until you're in that situation. So everything that you can prep for prior will make it a better deal for you. Here's a good question, Sergeant. My little cousin here says, when do I need to get my orange card?
When do you need to get your orange card? So the big date, and surprisingly, you'd be surprised at the amount of people that does not have one. But January 1 of 75 is the big date that everybody goes by. I believe 8 years old is the earliest that you can take it. So at 8, I would highly recommend it. Jump on it as soon as you can. Even the older people out there, we check it. Older people probably handled firearms or archery equipment their whole life, but it's still a good thing to take. That way, that may be something new that you didn't know 15 years ago that could help you out. So I recommend it as early as possible. If that answers these questions good enough.
Yep. That is a good one. And when now as far as from a legality standpoint, at what age do you have to have it?
12, I do believe.
It's 12. Yeah, I believe it's 12. Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many numbers with this stuff. It's it's hard to stay on top of them, especially when you got changes and stuff here and there.
That's right. And if it's a new, and Tim Fannin says 12 too. And if you're somebody that's new to hunting, there is a 1-year exemption, correct?
Yep. That can be purchased if you do the online thing. It can be purchased online when you purchase your license or your permits of any kind. Same thing as Walmart. If you mention it to them when you go to buy your license that you want to purchase the exemption permit as well. But it is good for 1 year.
Yeah. Very good.
And that is, Trinity, that's another common thing we have with licenses, whether it be fishing license or hunting license. Just know if you purchase just say a 1-day hunting license, a lot of people think if I buy that at 5 o'clock, I'm good till 5 o'clock the next day. It's not. It's actually good till midnight, or I would say 11:59 that night is when that license expires. So therefore, you'll be required, to purchase another license.
That's right. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times this year with fishing license. But that's a big one. If they purchase it, at 5, they think they're good till 5 p.m. the next day, which is incorrect. It's technically till midnight that night.
Yeah, very good. I'm glad you brought that up. Nathan says his mom had alpha-gal, said it's been miserable for her. That's a tick-borne illness. Justin Tinsley said need a lot more controlled burning to help with tick populations. They're working on it, Justin. I'm glad you said that too. Tim Fannin, which is an instructor, says it's age 12. And Paul Priest says, yes, ticks are bad. Have Lyme disease. My tracking dog Star has got Lyme disease and not doing good. Oh no. And Matt, we had Star and Paul on one of the early shows when we were traveling, and that's a phenomenal duo right there, and it's helped a lot of Eastern Kentucky sportsmen and women out with finding their harvest. Lot of trophies, a lot of animals being found by those two. Man, I hope Paul, you and Star have a full recovery from that. Very good. Um, now, one of our favorite seasons coming up, Sergeant Owens, is dove season. And I'll tell you what I love about opening day, man. On opening day, I tell everybody, there's a lot of folks you wouldn't believe in Eastern Kentucky's not even tried dove season, not even tried dove hunting. But man, I tell everybody it's kind of like a pay pond, catfish pay pond, except you're sitting around, hunting doves. But that is a day of large gatherings, and guess what? You get to have that hunter officer interaction. What's some things, and this is huge, and I hope everybody listens because we see it year in and year out because people take stuff for granted. Tell folks a little bit, get some things you have for a dove season, some advice to hunters.
A big one, because we've had this instance recent in our district. Check your ammunition. I know a lot of people, and I'm guilty of it, rabbit hunting or whatever. You get done, you throw all your shells back in the box, go back home. You're organizing, throwing shells here and there. We've actually had an instance where we've located a slug in the chamber of a gun on a dove field. Hunter didn't even know it.
Mm.
That could have been bad. Like you said, you've got large numbers of people on a dove field. That could have turned bad quick.
Yeah.
But ammunition is a big thing for me. Double check that. I don't know if they've put it back there this year or not, but the Smith Creek out Pat Oker Dove Field, some of those are located close to the roadway. Just pay attention to where you're shooting.
Yeah.
I've actually been out there and have checked many of people on that dove field and sat and talk and just trade stories back and forth while they shoot doves. So we don't want to be peppered while we're trying to carry on a conversation with somebody while we're checking them. That would be the main things to me, to be cognizant on a dove field, where you're shooting towards and the ammunition itself.
Awesome. And a big one that I've seen, and I know you've seen this lots and lots, is just because you have 3 shells in your firearm does not mean you're legal. At those dove fields, you're allowed 1 in the action, 2 in the magazine. If an officer gets your firearm and 3 of those shells will go in that magazine, even though you may have 3 shells, are you in violation?
Yeah, you're required to have a plug. It's got to be plugged, capable of holding 3.
Yeah. And that's the word. You see, that's what people got to pay attention to. And these are all things. And, like you said, with the ammo, so many of us, take our guns and we put them up. And, I remember my dad sticking pencils or cutting a twig and putting them down in there or whatever else. Sometimes you can break those or whatever. But, people need to know that any of these seasons, if your firearm gets checked and there's 3 goes in that magazine, you're in violation. So check your plugs
Absolutely.
with your shotguns. And a big one too, and I'm glad you brought this up, talking about that Pat Oker field up around South Shore up in Greenup County. Some of those fields are shot specific, as in non-toxic shot. So in that guide, that'll say that as well.
Yeah. And I actually think last year, or it might have been the year before last, they actually changed that Pat Oker field to a still shot only, and it was actually posted on the field. So you'll know if it's supposed to be still or lead, because it'll either be in a guide or it'll be posted on the field.
Awesome. Very good. And a lot of good information. Once again, fw.ky.gov. go on there and you can find a public dove field next to you. No reason not to be out on Labor Day weekend. At first is a Friday. Now, some of you die-hard deer hunters are going to be that Saturday the 2nd in the deer stand. I know y'all been waiting. But the first is dove season, so make sure to get out and enjoy that. Have we missed anything, Sergeant, that you may want to cover about squirrel or dove season or anything leading up to that point?
No, I believe we pretty much hit the high points of it. That covers, a lot of stuff that we see anyways.
Yeah. And here, Ben Moore says, take your survey. So you have to go online and take a survey on profile. You want to tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything. Actually takes you probably 2 minutes to do it. And I do it every year, to be honest with you. I do it. I don't get time to dove hunt, but I do it just because, if I was to get that day to do it, I ain't got to worry about it. It's already done. Plus, when you print your license, after you purchase whatever permits, elk drawing, whatever it may be, it'll be listed on there that it's, that you have taken that survey. That's a good one, Ben. You caught one on me.
Yep. And this lady right here says, stay safe.
Try to.
But yeah, that's a HIP survey, and then it'll give you about a 16-digit number. And if you've already got your license printed off, you need to reprint a license, or you can write that on your license. But do not be hunting migratory birds without that.
I think it's 3 questions, ain't it? 2 questions.
Yeah, that's it. That's
yeah.
it. And Tyler Smith says, doves, bacon, and banana peppers. Oh my.
Well, I'll tell you what, usually the football season they kicking off right around that first weekend of September too. And, I like sports and this and that, but as far as tailgating and stuff, that opening day of dove season's my tailgating. I get out there and I like to get a group of guys together and do some cooking, maybe some breakfast and everything. And, you know me, if it's centered around food, I pretty much enjoy it.
That's right. That's right.
That's why I can't do them sit-ups for the PT test.
Oh, goodness. Very good. And, here's some more pictures that talking about dove season. Here's one of your officers out in the dove field. And if you're dove hunting, I don't care what field you're at across the Commonwealth, you're going to see this, thankfully. So just be prepared. Make sure you do an equipment check. You should be doing that, whether you're going to get checked or not. Also have K9 officers as well. And Matt, according to Justin, you're going to have to change your ways, buddy. He sent this to me. He thinks you're in that side-by-side there.
Yeah. Justin don't know me too well, does he?
Well, he did say he could have used an invite for a dove meal, but he never got it.
When I do illegal stuff, I hide. I don't just drive around in the side-by-side where everybody can see me.
And John William Partain, a West Virginia transplant out of Florida, says, good show tonight. Got to go yote hunting now. So he's going to go whacking stacks in West Virginia mountaineer yotes. Very good. All right. Now, the big one everybody's waiting for, Sergeant, is deer season. That early archery season that starts September the 2nd. We call it velvet season. I've got a question for you, and I'm glad we kind of cleared this up, but actually, once again, fw.ky.gov cleared it up for us. Is mineral and salt included in the curtilage law?
In the curtilage or outside of the curtilage?
Outside, like so is it, and can you put salt and mineral? The way that the website reads is that salt is not included. We just want to kind of clear that up a little bit. Now, of course, we're out of that window now, so baiting for deer and stuff is allowed. But we had several questions about mineral and salt.
So I believe that has been redacted since the guide had hit the shelf. or your phone, whatever it may be. Originally, that was designed for your general bait, corn, sunflowers, whatever you put out. It does not include minerals or salt with the new verbiage that they have released. So you would be good, which, like you said, we're already past it now. But back in July, you would have been good running whatever minerals you decide to run on your farm or lease that you have.
Yeah, good. I appreciate you clearing it up. Also, let's talk a little bit. You and I, we were talking about nighttime hunting. Let's talk about that a little bit now. We kept up with Matt for several weeks back during thermal season, and of course, he quit and all that. But the way the regs read and whatever. But let's just talk a little bit about that, because we're seeing more and more people interested in nighttime coyote hunting.
Yeah. So this year in blue in the front of the book, as I spoke of earlier, there has been some changes to our night season for coyotes. They've actually added another section of hunting in there, which would be May 16th to June 30th. And I'll read this directly. Let me see if I can get it pulled up here. I will read this directly out of our guide, and then I'll try to pick it apart for you best I can. On public land after daylight hours, a person shall not use any equipment other than a bow, crossbow, shotgun loaded with multiple projectile shell. On private land after daylight hours, coyote hunters may only use a bow, crossbow, or shotgun loaded with multiple projectiles from December 1st to March 31st and May 16th to June 30th. Hunters on private land at night may also use any breech-loading rifle or pistol of any caliber, a shotgun firing a single projectile, or a muzzleloader of 54 caliber or less. In short, they have removed the caliber restrictions for your night season. The light, I think we talked about this earlier, Matt. The light, the other means would 100% include your thermals, your handheld thermals, thermal scopes, whatever you have. So during those 2 seasons, you would be perfectly legal of using lights or thermal equipment. The only stipulation to that is it cannot be attached to the vehicle or side by side or a four wheeler whatsoever. So I know a lot of the older spotlights, they've come out with a lot more advanced stuff these days, but a lot of your older spotlights, the best ones that you could get was plugs into a 12-volt cigarette lighter. So if I was using one of those, hunting in a pasture or a strip job somewhere, had my light attached to that vehicle, you would be in violation. So therefore, you'd have to have something be set up away from the vehicle would be the best way to go about it.
Awesome.
Sarge, what about like legitimate farming operations? How would somebody go about getting depredation tags if they were having issues with predators there?
So a big one that we try to tell everybody, because we get these calls quite often, whether it be deer eating your garden, coyotes killing your calves, you absolutely 100% have a right to protect your property. But with that being said, it has to be an act of causing that damage. We'll just use the easy one. Say a deer is eating your garden. That's a normal agriculture practice. You can dispatch that deer, but you are required to contact us. Let us know about it. And typically an officer will go out, show up, take a look at it, make sure that deer wasn't 300 yards behind your garden just picking clover. So you have to have a valid reason to do that. As far as your tags, that's a process that you'll have to contact your local officer, whatever county you may be in. Tell them the issue you have. They may want to come out and look at it themselves. And if they deem it, you do have a lot of damage, then they'll go through the permit process from there.
That answer your question, Matt? That's a good question.
Yeah, but let's say a farmer had a dead cow, a dead mama cow turn up, and no obvious reason, no proof that it was a coyote or whatever the case is, but you roll out there one morning, you see coyotes on the dead cow, and it runs off, and you go back that evening, say at dark, and it's you've got thermal or lights or whatever on a coyote that's eating a dead cow. Now, no proof that cow was killed by them coyotes, but they're there and this and that. That would be an illegal time to shoot that coyote.
Absolutely. But there would not be anything illegal about you sitting on it before, that at daylight, sunrise, shooting hours that morning or before sunset during that evening and taking those predators off of, that cow that had died.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Let's see. Here's a good question. Chris Dawson says, been a while since I've dove hunted. Shooting times are different on public fields, if I remember correctly. So if I'm, and you correct me if I'm wrong, opening days 11 o'clock for private and public, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then on public, it's 11 o'clock all the time. Am I right on that?
Second and third. First would be, your private would be the only day on private, be 11 a.m. on the first day.
Yeah. Very
Yep,
good.
you're correct.
Justin says you got to get that mineral out around February if you want it to start doing any good. About right after they start dropping. All right. Now, deer season, man. I know everybody's been waiting. I mean, they've been chopping at the bit. That's the big one coming up. What would you have to say to deer hunters about the upcoming season, as far as maybe safety things or checking in with you all or anything from legality standpoints?
The big one is just make sure you're where you're supposed to be. Permission. Obviously, in the state of Kentucky, you're not required to have written, although, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Verbal is just fine, but just make sure that's a big complaint that we receive every year, day in, day out during gun season. It's the big one. Getting calls, so-and-so's not supposed to be here. Then we show up, and obviously that's the case. They didn't have permission, thought they did, that kind of thing. So make sure you have permission. And if you do have permission, it don't hurt to keep that landowner's phone number in your phone. Because you may be questioned by one of us, and it's nothing ill towards that person. It's just, hey, we have a job to do, and if we ask you, do you have a right to be here, and they say yeah, we may say, hey, well, do you have the landowner's phone number so I can talk to him and make sure it's true what you're telling me. That would be a big one, because that's a common complaint in this area. It's about like any other games that we chase. Follow your restrictions on your equipment. And the big one for me, and I'll be the first to tell you, I was guilty of it when I was a little bit younger. For our early season bow hunters, actually all the way through, wear your harness. That can save your life. That's getting you home back to your family. I've had a couple of close calls when I was younger. Got a little bit older and realized, I wasn't so smart when it come to that. And they make them so light, man. It's hard not to just go ahead and throw one on and strap into that tree.
So, Sergeant, what you're saying is you shouldn't be so tough or think you're so tough that you can just outdo the tree stand or the fall or the tree, and wearing a harness doesn't make you any less of a man. Is this what I'm hearing?
Absolutely.
Man, you know anything you want to add to that?
Well, look, I took the fall pretty good, but when that tree stand hit me in the face after I got down to the ground, that was what hurt real bad.
Do you wear one now, though?
Absolutely.
If you can even get him up in one.
No, Shoot, I don't care to get up there, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I'm
I
just
don't
giving you a
live
hard
my
time.
fear.
Matt, I'll be honest with you. Matt's lucky to be with us. Matt took a real nasty fall up, Matt, 20, 21, 22, somewhere around that mark, feet. In that
Yeah,
area.
about 20 foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Pretty bad ordeal. But you know, like you said, the way they make them now, you know, you can't even tell you got them on.
Yep. And they're fairly cheap too. I mean,
That's right.
but they're well built.
Yeah. And every tree stand you buy now comes with one.
Yep.
You know. So, or if you want to get like we got a hunter safety system like the vest and everything, and they're really nice. So Sergeant, I'm gonna bring up a real. Now listen, we ain't gonna talk about controversial stuff. We don't do that. But I'm gonna bring up a kind of a funny deal. But I think it's good for you to touch on it to the people about how we interact with them, whatever else. And this is our buddy Paul, and I understand where Paul's coming from. Paul says, "Can I send the DNR Fish and Wildlife a feed bill for a bear? I fed him for 5 years. I even give him a name, Homeboy, every deer season." And it's funny because we follow Paul on social media, and Paul will have a real. It seems like Paul's got a real nice target buck, you know, whatever. And the next thing you know, man, here comes these bears. What advice or what do you have for people about living here with black bear?
Unfortunately, they're here to stay. I understand they're can be a nuisance. Probably majority of the population that we have you don't see, but it's just that few that makes it bad for all of them. We like to, because that's another call that we get quite a bit, especially in the springtime. Try to eliminate those attractants, whether it be garbage, bird feeders, pet food on the porch. Usually that will eliminate your interaction with that bear being at your residence or hunting camp, whatever it may be. I understand it's hard for some. Not everybody has the same means to be able to put things away and keep it up till pickup or things of that nature. But typically, the ones we have give that advice to, they've done that and followed those steps, and it's helped them out tremendously.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing. I had somebody come to me last week and was like, "Man, I need to call Fish and Wildlife. I've got a bear." I said, "Well, what's he doing?" "Well, he's just eating all my deer feed." And I'm like, "Look, man, you're gonna have to remove all that feed. You're gonna have to be still for a couple of weeks. Let him get out of there. He'll move on. Before and what it's just the way that it is, you know." And
Yeah, they're constantly looking for that free meal.
yeah,
They don't want to have to work for it too much.
that's right. Yeah. Paul
John,
says he never come to the house. So yeah, it's something that, you know, it's just like anything else. You know, we're in the middle. If you're, I don't know what they say now. I've not got the most recent, but if you're south of 64 and you're east of 75, you're in bear country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've actually talked to some guys, out west that's, well, I wouldn't say so far west, but, some of them western counties, what we would consider western counties, and some central counties are saying, they're starting to see them as well. So they are going to move.
Yeah. What was you going to say, Matt?
I was just saying they're like giant raccoons, always looking for that free meal.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Ben says, spread your corn like chicken feed. They won't spend the time to pick up grain by grain. That's another good, if you want to try that. If you got piles out, they're going to, or if that bear can access that feeder, they can make light work of a feeder pretty good. Pretty good too. So, deer season, and then of course coveted elk season, man. And I know that you all ramp up big time for elk season. This will be our closer here. What you got? What you got for elk hunters?
Get to scouting. It's tough. Um, I haven't spent that much time in the woods as what I used to, getting out and looking for them and trying to find them just to be able to see them. But now I've talked to a lot of people, been around you, Trinity and stuff. It's tough. It's not what it was 15 years ago or 10 years ago. They've scattered, and this terrain down here is, rough as it can get, I do believe. So I believe preseason scouting is a big plus for people who want to put a lot of time into it or has the ability to put time into it. It's a must, I would say. Probably you probably know more about it than I would as far as the scouting part of it. But getting out there and looking for them can probably save you a lot of time when you get down here, try to show up the day before and thinking you're going to find one within the first couple hours. That's pretty hard.
Yep, you're exactly right. And the thing for me is like if you're on a do-it-yourself hunt, like you said before about with deer season, know where you're hunting. You got regulated areas. If you know you're hunting next to a regulated area, if you're caught on that regulated area and you don't have the specific tag for that area, that's a no-no. That's going to be a bad day for the hunter. And get down here and know the area some, like you said, because if you're showing up the day before, you're going to be overwhelmed and probably success is going to be very, very low and it's not going to be real enjoyable.
Absolutely. I would agree with you 100% on that one.
Yeah. And, I know that you all ramp up with certain seasons and, every time I go out in the woods, we're always looking. We're like, well, if we get checked, if you go out and you're doing things the right way and doing what you're supposed to do, whatever else, there's no reason to have anxiety to get checked. I mean, it's a positive more than it is a negative. So, the time that you put in behind the screen, reading the rules and regs, and doing all the things prior to your hunt, no matter what you're hunting, especially if you're going into some unknown place, can pay off big time in numerous ways.
Absolutely. And even if it's something, we'll just put a non-resident in there. If it's something, you get drawn for an elk tag and come down and you've read it 100 times, and it's just not making sense, reach out to us. Whether you see us in a field, contact us by phone, email. We'll do our best to answer the question for you in a timely manner. And that's just goes back to one of the things we talked about earlier, being able to have conversation when we can with the sportsmen and women while we're working. We enjoy stuff like that. And some of us may have an issue with that answer. If we can't figure it out, we'll find somebody that's got the right answer for you. I can promise you that.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm on the phone with you guys all the time, man. I mean, even as much as we're down here, I mean, I call y'all, you know how much I aggravate y'all. I call y'all all the time because I just want to be in the know. It's not worth it to me. Every animal out there isn't worth breaking the law for. We got some good questions here. We'll call you tonight. I appreciate your time. I know we've kept you a little bit longer than we're supposed to. Thank you for your time. My mama says, you gotta know my mama. She says, if I feel threatened by a bear while deer hunting, or if I'm out of where, do you have a right to protect yourself?
I'll say this lightly, you do, but you also have to be able to prove that bear is being aggressive. I'll just throw a scenario out there. If Trinity Shepherd calls me and says, hey, I was deer hunting, climbed down out of my stand, this bear charged at me, I shot it because he was coming at me. I show up and all those rounds are in the back half of that bear. It probably wasn't charging you. That's so right. There's you have a right to protect yourself. Anybody would, but there's some things in there that you can, different scenarios that you could pitch in there to where, is it really trying to hurt you, or was it just being, holding its ground, being, not coming directly at you, just standing there popping his jaw or something like that. There's a lot of stuff that goes into an answer for that one. But in short, you do have a right to protect yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure it's a last resort option. I mean,
And if you do have that situation, contact us. We got to know about it. And at that point, we'll have officers out there investigating what happened.
Yeah, very good. Here's another good question. What's the law on retrieving wounded or shot elk off another property if it crosses a property line? So let's say, I'm hunting on Matt's property that I have permission on, and I make a shot on a deer and it runs across over to the next landowner's property. What's the law and regs about that?
So the state of Kentucky does not have a right to retrieve law. And that goes for any type of, whether it be coon hounds or rabbit dogs or anything like that. Without that landowner's consent allowing you to be on his property, you can shoot the next state record. And if he says, I'm sorry, I don't want you on my property, you can't go get that animal.
Yep.
So got to make sure you get permission. It would be a good idea, if you're hunting close to a boundary, whether it be a zone or just a neighboring property for that matter, go and talk to them before you start hunting it. Hey, if this was to happen, if I was to shoot a deer or an elk or a bear or whatever it may be, and it was to cross you, do you mind if I retrieve that? That's all I want to do. Go in and get my game and get back off your property. That's all I need to do. You'd be surprised at the amount of people who would say, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. Yeah, being upfront about it,
Yep.
And it's always best to be upfront and be told no as to do a big no. That's a big one. That is a big one. Well, man, what have we missed tonight? What have we missed in closing? What have we not said that you'd like to get out there to everybody?
I'll touch a little bit on reporting because we're getting into deer season. That's when usually majority of our complaints come in, whether it be by phone or email. Just know if you don't have an officer's phone number directly, you can contact your local state police post. They dispatch for us. They will either dispatch us through radio or send us an email, and you'll have an officer contact you, whoever's available. So don't be surprised if you call from, let's say, Lawrence County, and you're talking to an officer that's from Knott County or Martin County, because that may be the only officer that's out at that time to cover that. So, but we will give you a call and let you know that we'd be en route, or, maybe be able to answer your question or whatever the complaint may be over the phone. But if we need to respond, we'll do that. But also reporting violations. A lot of people, may have X amount of issues, whether it be poaching, spotlighting, whatever it may be. We can't help the resource out if we don't know about it. A lot of people like to, kind of keep it to themselves and leave it up to us to try to figure out, catch them. We can do that a lot quicker if we have the help from the public, whether you're a hunter yourself or just, just a general person that doesn't hunt at all. So reporting, it's a big thing. If you see us out, whether it be the next, few weeks before hunting season kicks off, we're still around the lakes quite a bit, ask us for a business card. Our phone numbers and email both will be on there. You'll have a direct line of contact to either the officer in your county or just an officer in general. We'll get the right people in place. If it comes in Lawrence County, we've got a couple officers that's closer down that way. We can let them know of what's going on down in that area, and maybe able to resolve that issue a little quicker.
Yeah, very good. And Paul says, does Lawrence County have a game warden? So does all the counties? I know that usually each county has their own officer. Does Lawrence County have one at the moment?
That's the only county in our district that we are currently missing. We have at least one officer. Some counties have two. I think let's see, Perry County has 2, Knott County has 2, and I believe Harlan County has 2. So Lawrence County would be the only county that we have vacant at this time. But myself and 4 other officers will be responsible to cover that, until it's filled. So I don't want to say it's vacant. It is vacant on paper, but we have 4 or 5 of us that has the ability to go down there and cover it.
Yeah, all counties are in rotation as far as with patrol and assistance from officers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're especially during deer season. When we try to cover ground and stuff, there may be one shift we're in 4, maybe 5 different counties in an 8-hour period. So we can cover it. It just may take us a little bit more where we don't have nobody that lives down there that's ready to go. So we will cover it.
Yep. Matt, what you got in closing?
That's it, man. Get out there and enjoy yourself. Got a lot of things coming up here in the next month or so. So, looking forward to dove season. Looking forward to getting out there, and hopefully this weather that we had today and the next couple of days will hold up for us. And I know it's probably not going to happen, but get out there and enjoy it.
We've been spoiled today and tomorrow. One last question, sir. Do you all patrol private land if asked by the landowner? So how do you all treat private land?
We will patrol private land. If a landowner was to call us and say, hey, I've got this issue going on, we'll just throw one out there. I've got somebody hunting on me right now. But I know 100% I've never give anybody permission whatsoever. We will come in and attempt to locate, make contact with that person that's there that's, doesn't have permission. So I don't want to say no, we don't patrol private land, because we will. Just given on, based off the information that's provided by the landowner. If it's something that's, and we typically try to help everybody we can out, whether it's public or private. But if it's something, if you've got 4-wheelers going through your property, well, unfortunately, we don't have the numbers to be able to send an officer up there for a week straight to set 8-hour shifts there every day. If we're through that area, we don't care a bit to swing up through there and see if we can't locate somebody that's not supposed to be there. So it's kind of, no. I mean, it just depends on, the type of complaint. We will show up, obviously, gather the information and see what we can find out and see if we can help resolve that issue. But as far as coming and sitting on somebody's property for a week, 2 weeks straight for 8 hours a day, well, we've just took away from what limited resources we have right now to cover that one complaint, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So we will, I guess, would be a short way of putting it.
Yeah, very good. Well, Sergeant, I can't thank you enough for spending time with us, man. Great evening, great show. Thank you for all your knowledge. Thank you for your service and what you and all the men and women of Kentucky Park and Fish and Wildlife, especially the conservation officers team, does for protecting the things we love to do. I think sometimes we take it for granted, and we think things or whatever else. But overall, I mean, I think we got the best in the nation. So we appreciate you all very much.
I appreciate it, Trinity.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to add one more thing.
Sure.
I talked to you earlier in the week about, we have got probably just within the last week, probably 30 plus employees, whether it be biologists, law enforcement, techs, have been certified in official measures for Boone and Crockett and Pope and Young.
Yep.
So there's a lot more opportunity out there to have an animal scored now that we have multiple people within the agency that's qualified to measure. So anybody gets lucky this year, reach out to us. We'll help you out.
Man, I'll tell you what, I'll have you come measure that 90-inch buck that I killed this year, and we can get that certified, right?
Absolutely. Hey, I don't care to practice on one or two.
Or as Matt says,
The 11-pointer.
the
That's right.
11-pointer. Well, man, thanks. Thanks for all the information. Once again, folks, go to fw.ky.gov, click the tabs button. There's anything you want to know, fisheries and wildlife related, education, non-huntable species. I mean, it will blow your mind how much information is in that, what you want to do, whether you're a non-resident looking to come to Kentucky to be able to take part in our great resources, or whether you're here and you think you know everything, you go to that website, you'll find out. You will learn something every time you click the button. fw.ky.gov. Make sure when you see the men and women of Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, whether it be a conservation officer, a biologist, whether it be somebody just out and about, walk up, shake their hands, thank them for protecting the resources that we love to enjoy so much each and every day and each and every season. Guys, y'all hang tight in the studio, folks. We hope you have a good rest of your week. Remember, if you want to know the creator, take a look at the creation. Get out there and enjoy what God has gave us. And we hope to see y'all real soon on air and outdoors. We'll see y'all here next week. Have a good one.
Eastern Kentucky, where I was raised, where the wildlife and mountains call my name. I was born to hunt, I was born to guide, a camouflage on a rifle by my side. Just good old country boys chasing dreams in the afterlife.